very warm welcome to Dust Shelf Collectibles. I hope I find you well, and back onto the Clod Buster build. So I've done a couple of parts so far. We did an unboxing video. Part 1, put together the body as you see here, sprayed it all up, called the bright work on it. Decided not to put all of the stickers on because I think less is more. So if you haven't seen that one, that's on the channel. And today we're going to put the chassis together. I don't know how it's going to go together. It looks fairly straightforward, but obviously quite large. So I'm going to put the chassis together, and then in a future video I've got other bits and pieces that I want to fit on there, like, you know, a proper oil shock suspension and some lights and things. So, but that'll be a video in the future. So as I say, today's video purely building up the chassis. So let's go over to the bench and let's start building. Okay, we'll start the build as we always do, which is to zero off the servo. So I've already bound this to the controller, the receiver, so they're connected. And then we can see the servo moving, and we'll just move the trim into the middle, and that's the servo neutraled. So turn that off, and we can unplug the servo and put the electrics to one side for a minute, and start on the build. So what do we need? So BB2s. Where are BB2s? They're probably screw bag A, I would think. No, screw bag B, right. So I did say this on the lorry build, get a couple of pots, and then with the screw bags that come with these kits, you pour them into the pot and then leave the label in there, and makes it a lot easier to find bits and pieces. So let's just open a few of these up. So let's see. Make sure I get all the bits out of there. Let's see. This one is B. See here. Let's open that one as well. Set ball racers there, I don't know what they're for. Right, let's have a look. So we want C7s, and what's this component here, and B. So we need B parts and C parts. Right, that's step 2 done. Now what you would have seen is I had to go to my parts bin for a screw to tie this into the servo. These are quite cheap old servos, but they're metal geared, and it's actually threaded in there, and the kit doesn't actually come with a screw that fits that thread. If you look here, it's the servo horn is going into a Futaba or an Acom's or Swannier fitting, but they have nylon gears in there, so they've got self-tappers on them, so I have had to find a screw there, as I've had to do before. So not a problem, going for using cheap servos. But anyway, right, moving on, step 3. So step 3 looks like the control arms. Now we'll repeat what I said in the unboxing video. My intention is for this to be mounted with 2 servos, one at the front, one at the rear. It is four-wheel steering on this car. But out the box as a stock build, has a single servo sitting in the middle that controls both ends. So I'm going to build it like that today, and then there'll be a future video coming up where I convert it over to a 2 servo affair. But as I say, today just a single servo. So let's go ahead and let's get this link arm made up. Right, I'm going to have to pause my build for a bit. As you can see, the ends that go on the tie rods are in blue, and I want to change the colour over, so I need to go and spray these. So, as I say, I'm going to pause the build for a bit and yeah, go and get these coloured up. Right, so it's the two longer ones I want. So these will actually get replaced when I put the twin servo kit in, so I'm not overly worried if the paint does come off them a little bit. Spot on. Just had to pop out and get one of the sprayed parts. So this is this mounts onto here. Now, rather annoyingly, the camera stopped on me, so you've missed me putting these front uprights in. Not really missed much. It's a cross brace across here and then 4 screws to put the uprights in. And now we're moving on to fitting this front bumper. Well, it might be the rear. No, it's his front bumper. It's got to be front. And these screws come up from underneath, like so. We'll find the hole for it. Just slide the nut on the top. One of them. Let's do the other side. There we go. Right, battery box. Okay, I've missed a bit out, which means I've got to go back and put that plate on. So where's the servo gone? There it is. Right, well, we're up to number 8. That's the chassis done for now. So I'm going to pop this to one side, and then we'll start on the gearboxes. As I say, the servo, this will come out, but it's just in there for now. While I build it to stock condition, and then we'll change it later. But I have to say, it's gone together quite well. The chassis feels pretty rigid now with those braces in there. It's pretty good. Yeah, not the most challenging kit so far. Okay, so I've just gone and got these. These are all of the models I build. I always put ball races in. I did see this does come with these horrible nylon bearings, but yeah, I am going to change them over to proper roller bearings. I don't know if it makes a difference. I feel it does. So we're going to make 2 of these gearboxes as we go. Right, so there's a difference here. So one of these is a... Right, I see. So these are in pairs. So got it, because you've got this little spline here. So that's easy enough. Right. So with this, we need some circlips. Where did I see the circlips? I probably can get rid of these bags now. I've kind of not used them so far, so. There they are. So I need 8 circlips. 1, 2. Two tubes of ceramic grease in the kit, which is rather good. Okay, so let's make sure I get this right. A washer. Now there's no point in me putting grease on the shaft here, because actually I might put a little bit of grease on there, but because they're roller bearings, the balls inside there should take the friction out, and probably just need a bit drop of oil on them. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to leave those dry for now. Okay, 4 more bearings. So I think these are actually the roller bearings that came in the kit. These 4 that we're supposed to be using now. Oh no, that can't be right. Yeah, so it's telling me to use the roller bearing on the inside, but I'm using them for all 4, so yeah, that's fine. And these ones that I've bought here are the proper Tamiya ones with the nylon cover on, which makes them, well, I wouldn't say waterproof, but water resistant, moisture resistant, shall we say. Okay, washers. And a circlip. Okay, so that's all of the, I'll call them half shafts or lay shafts together. So I've got to cut the gearbox casing out and then attach these to it. So let's do that now. So it's these two big bits to start with. So if I just put it up the orientation that it's sitting in, and this fits on like that, I think. So the little peg there, so that it'll only go in one way round. Make sure you get it in the right place, that's quite handy. Right, gearing. Right, before I start these, I am going to give all my roller bearings just a tiny bit of oil, just while I can. Start putting some gears together. Gearbox 1 and gearbox 2. Okay, let's start with this gear. Right, let's tip my bearings out. So we've got a bearing that goes in this end and a bearing that goes in that end. Okay, that's those two done. They are a little bit loose. Right, let me find the shafts and we'll assemble it as we go. Right, that one feels pretty good. Let's get the other one together. Okay, up to step 14 there. That's the gearboxes together. Looking pretty good. They feel pretty tight actually at the moment, so probably going to need a little bit of bedding in. They're yeah, I feel it. Particularly the diffs are quite tight, so hopefully that leaves off. Now with the kit, you do get a couple of 540s, just standard cans there. But I think I said in the unboxing video, I'm going to switch over and put some sport tune motors in. Now, I did a bit of research into the motors, and if you go for anything a little bit more advanced or even brushless, one of the motors has actually got to run in reverse, so it does recommend that you stay with a standard can, which this is kind of a standard can. Otherwise you've got to tune the motors and make sure the timing's correct, and you know, for each of the motors they're running in sync. So that's why I've gone with these. So let's get these open and let's have a look at the side. And for some reason I thought these would be black, but they're not. They're silver, so probably going to be exactly the same as what came with the kit. But anyway, I've got them now, so we're going to use them. One there. Just put that straight in before I lose it. Is there another one? Should be. There it is. So there is a tool for positioning the pinion gear, it says. Oh, look. Is that it? Yes. So, positioning the pinion gear seems to be critically important because they've put a special gauge in. So I suppose we should use it. Yeah, it's quite a long way up the shaft. Right, well I've gone through the whole process and it says here, be careful, do not forget this nut. Guess what I've done? Oh, I've got to take them all apart and yeah, fit that, that nut in there. How frustrating, and there's two of them. Well, it only took me a few minutes to tear these back down, drop the screws out, and there's a little captive nut that sits inside that the screw goes into that I missed off the instructions, so it's my own fault, but yeah, it's silly me. So yeah, pulled the gearboxes back down and dropped that nut in there, and that's both of those assembled. Yeah, they've done not too bad, not too bad. They went together relatively well, apart from that little error on my part, but they do feel awfully tight though. So I'm hoping they'll bed in, but we'll see how we go. Right, moving on. So that's part 16 done, and now we're on to the suspension. So I think that's a job for tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap it up here for tonight and go and get some dinner. Okay, let's pop the suspension arms together. I'll just bring the parts over. These were sprayed. Right, that's all the way to step 19. Now those observant people would have seen me put the arms on the wrong way round, so I've had to stop the camera and turn those round, but no harm done. It just took 10 minutes just to switch the arms back over, so no real problem. Moving on to 20, which is the attachment of these metal brackets. So we'll turn the gearbox back up this way, and let's find a bag with the brackets in. Right, which way round do they go? They go that way round. Oh no, that's not right. Like, still can't find it that way. Not crystal clear where they attach. Okay, I see. Right, onto hub assembly. So let's get the hubs. Right, well there you go, that's the 4 hubs assembled. I don't know if the microphone's actually picking it up, but I've got the door open, it's absolutely chucking it down outside, so that's what the noise is in the background if you can hear it. Right, assembling another steering shaft. So, what have we got here? Need to do 2 of these ones. Let's grab some of these sprayed up parts. So I've got some nice ones. Right, that's the tie rods together, hubs together. Time to go over the page. See what comes next. Right, assembling onto the onto here. Right, let's have a look. little bit of grease in there, a little bit of grease in there. Fairly straightforward. So I should have put that other washer in. Mistake there. BA4s. Right, well in my keenness I've missed this whole section out, so I need to go back and do that. So let's do them one at a time. It's not those. would have been a whole lot easier, obviously, without the bumper on. Never mind. And the spring, and the spring seat. Sorry, it's first. This part here. And the spring seat. Wasn't too painful. Now we can assemble to the chassis. Right, assembling the shock absorbers, so these look pretty straightforward. I haven't seen the rubber tubing though that it mentions. I wonder where that'll be. Right, it's quite hard to show this on camera, but I'm just fitting the shocks on here, so they pop onto the bottom, onto the ball joint, and then at the top they just simply bolt onto the chassis. So I'm just going to go around and put these on. These aren't staying on here. I'm going to change these to oil shocks very shortly, but they've not come through yet, so I'm just putting these on for today. Right, VA2. Right, so that's all the suspension on. We're now up to number 30, and this one is all about fitting the speed controller that came with the kit. So let's have a quick read of this and make sure I know what I'm doing. Right, so I have actually come across a problem with my replacement motors. The ones that come with the kit have got extra length wires, so when I've tried to put this together, these wires are too short, so I'm going to desolder these and swap the wires over on the motors, and hopefully that will well, that will resolve the problem. Right, let's try again with the speed controller. So, making sure I've got M1 and M1. They go in here, so blue to green, yellow to yellow. And then on the opposite end, you switch the wires round. So blue to yellow and green to yellow. That's why I took the wires off individually, so I made sure they went back on around the same way, so that when I make these connections I get them around the right way, I hope. battery I saw over here. Right, let's plug this in. Let me just grab my radio. These kits do create an awful lot of rubbish. Well, I stopped the camera there because I really couldn't get it to work, but it's quite a simple thing. I had because I use this controller for all of my cars, I had the trim switched over, and yeah, it was quite upset with just with having the trim the wrong way round on this speed controller. So now it goes through its checks. We have power and we have steering. So left and right. Let's just check that with the power. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, now on to the next bit. I can't do this on camera because it's just I have to really lean on it to push this in, so I'm just going to turn the camera off for this bit while I put the tyres on. It's just pure brute force, but I'm having to sort of push down into my lap to get the tyre on, so I'll come back in a minute when the tyres are on. So this is quite a straightforward process. Got these brass grommets. They drop onto the stub axles, and then these just mount straight on with a wheel nut to finish off the build. Two, let's find those. So that one, three. Missing a wheel nut. Where's that one? There it is. Yeah. Just bring this back across. Hopefully this is picking up in shot. So one with the stub axle, one with the hub, one with the wheel. Well, these are actually quite a struggle to get on. Because they're such a long reach inside and I've got quite fat fingers, it's yeah, it's a little bit difficult to get the wheel nut on. Right, a couple of finishing touches. So I need to tape this down, if I can find the tape. Use this. Well, it certainly is a monster, and I love the look of it. So pleased with the painting on the body. I'm glad I haven't put the stickers on yet. I'm still not sure about those, you know, the sort of 80s graphics. I think less is more on this. Looks really good. I love the chrome on it. Looks good. Now, in terms of the build, I probably shouldn't have painted the bumpers and a couple of the other bits, because they are going to scratch very, very easily. So that's a little bit of a lessons learned there for me. Pleased with the way the chassis turned out in the metallic black. That looks pretty good. But I found the build very repetitive. Still, don't get me wrong, still enjoyable. I love building these kits, but just very repetitive. You know, you're building 2 gearboxes, you're building 4 corners, you know, and they're all exactly the same. There's no variation in them at all. And even with this, you know, because of the 4-wheel steering as well, even the steering system, you're building 2 sets of that. With 8 shocks, you're building 8 shocks. You know, it's just very, very repetitive. But again, I reiterate, you know, very lucky to have this and loved every minute building it. I'm just trying to, you know, give a subjective critique of the kit. Now, in terms of running, it's a bit of a handful actually. It's all over the place. You've got all the mass down in the gearboxes, so the bit that's actually sprung, the body, doesn't have a lot of weight in there. You've simply got the battery and a couple of bits of electronics in there, so there's a lot of bouncing going around on, as you've seen, and obviously with friction dampers, it just bounces all over the place. But it's good fun. It's good fun to drive, but just a bit of a handful. So next steps on this, what I want to do is single servo in the middle. I want to put servos at either end. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I was going to buy a kit to do that, but then when I've looked at the kit, you need to remove the bumpers and all kinds of things, and I think I can actually make something that's potentially similar or maybe a little bit better, I think. So I'm going to have a look at that myself, see if I can move the servos to either end. I want to get some oil dampers in it, just to see if I can remove some of this sort of springiness in the body. So put some oil shocks in there. I found a set from a company called JKRC, really reasonable price, but we'll go through that in the next video. And then I want to put a lighting kit on it, so having the headlights and indicators working, I think will look particularly good on this. So that will be in the next video coming up in a few weeks, when I get time to play with the project a bit more. So anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. If you've enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up, and why not check out the channel. There's lots of radio control videos on there, and I've just finished building the Tamiya King Hauler. Those videos are on there, and that might interest you. And there's all kinds of other subjects in there, lots of model kits, model making, and everything from sort of model railways right the way through to roller coasters. All my hobbies and interests, I cover them all on there. And if you can subscribe, you'd be doing me a really big favour, and you know, it makes my day to see new subscribers on there. So anyway, could wrap this up. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.